Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
If you watch the show, you know I'm a very strong advocate of self-defense. And to that, I want you to have the means to properly defend yourself. That's not knocking the police or anybody else, but when it comes down to it, you don't have 2 or 3 minutes for somebody else to get there to save you, assuming they can save you. You need to have the means to defend yourself. But in Finland, they have a very different approach. In a very bizarre video that was posted today by Paul Joseph Watson, this is a real video. I want to make it very clear, this is not satire. They're telling the young ladies out there, if you're attacked, you say no, like a dog. And you see the guy, he cowers away in fear because this woman said no. And eventually in the video, she does strike the guy with her purse, which I would probably recommend something like that to start with. But no, you shove him back, then he will just leave you alone. You put your hand out like wow, she just used the force right there. And once again, this is not a satire piece. This is a real video that they're showing women how you use the force to pretty much stop your attacker. And this is in lieu of having the ladies carry things like tasers, guns, pepper spray, pocket knives. They're saying, hey, you do like this and the guy's going to leave you alone. No, that doesn't happen in the real world. And eventually, yeah, she does start to strike him with a purse, which I would recommend doing that before trying to use the force. And that's just one of the ridiculous things that are going on around the world. This pretty much victim disarmament, making the world a victim disarmament zone all the way around. And it brings me to our next article. Survey claims that most gun owners would buy smart guns. Now, once again, if you choose to buy a smart gun, that's your business. But I just don't want to get to a point where it's federally mandated. And the article says, in a web-based survey of 4,000 individuals performed in January of 2015, 59% they'd be willing to consider a child-proof gun. But this thing was put on, the survey was put on by a strong gun control advocate who's a professor at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School, Department of Health Policy and Management. That is quite the title he has there. And he's also a director of the School Center for Gun Policy and Research, which makes me kind of skeptical of this survey because they always say most gun owners want this. I'm like, 9 out of 10 gun owners want that. I'm like, you guys didn't ask me at all. And I'm pretty sure they didn't ask any of the guys in the crew, who are proud gun owners. So I'm always skeptical of this. Just like the other day, I went out to the University of Texas and I asked people who their favorite presidential candidates were. Many of them saying, or most of them saying, Bernie Sanders. And it didn't surprise me because Bernie Sanders has many young voters, many first-time voters say they would vote for Bernie if given the chance to. But I understand you go to a college, you're going to get a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters. So you take that with a grain of salt. I'm pretty sure if I would have went to a steakhouse, I would have got some, Republican supporters. Now, talking about Republicans, Rand Paul has left the race as well as Rick Santorum. I know many of you guys didn't even know Rick Santorum was running. But in his farewell address, Dr. Paul said, "Thanks again to the people of Iowa. It was great getting to meet you, and I am especially grateful for the enthusiasm of students. Fight on." So as you guys know, Rand Paul was my favorite candidate. If I can't vote for Rand Paul, I'm probably just going to vote in somebody or write in somebody like David Knight. I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton or Bernie or Trump. I think other people in the party can make, decent cabinet members, but I don't think any of them are the guy for the top spot. Now, let's talk about some diversity on campuses. Now they have at the University of Connecticut a black-only dorm. Now, when I talk about this story, I understand that, there's a time when you had black-only universities or historically black universities because they couldn't go to other schools. I understand that. But when you have a dorm like this, I just feel like you're segregating yourself. But they're saying the dorm, which opens this fall, is supposedly intended to help the school pool resources of African-American students in a program called Scholars House. And they say some people are criticizing it, including the president for the Center of Equal Opportunity, Roger Clegg. He's saying, let's stop this nonsense and stop looking at people on the basis of their color. And in some other college news, we have a chart that shows how you're not exactly getting the best deal when you go to college. And it says the president is saying that you need to have a college degree because it's more valuable than ever. But they're saying the immediate returns are the lowest they've been in this generation, a new data poll shows. So it just goes to show you a college education isn't all that's cracked up to be. Once again, I'm not telling you not to get an education. I'm just saying when you got to spend all this money and time and all this stuff taking art appreciation and all these other classes that you don't necessarily need, you're just feeding into the issue. And finally, before we go on to our other segments, Mrs. Clinton, they're saying that she's never going to be prosecuted. These are the words of a former inspector general. So with this, our very own Joe Biggs is having an identity crisis. He is now self-identifying as Mrs. Clinton. He went out on the streets to share this with the people of Austin. Here's a look at that.
at this point does it make?
We came, we saw, he died.
A dead heat for all practical purposes, almost from the start to the finish.
Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Sanders is in a dead heat.
Did you know she won one of the little areas based on a coin toss?
At least 6 precincts resorted to a coin flip due to a tie.
Sorry, it just keeps happening.
A lozenge.
I swear to God, my health is fine. This is Hillary Clinton reporting for Infowars.com in downtown Austin, Texas. Now, I am tired. I'm very tired because I was just in Iowa last night where I beat Bernie Sanders in the Iowa caucus. Now, you might ask yourself, how can more people show up to Bernie Sanders events and less show up to mine and I still win? Well, guess what? I got that coin flip game going on right there, heads every time. Oh, again. Oh, well, it was actually tails, but I flipped it really quick. It's a sleight of hand trick. Us Clintons are really good at that. We learned how to gamble down in Arkansas. Well, we're gonna go out here and talk to people and ask people if they like me or Bernie Sanders, or if they find it suspicious that I'm really good at flipping coins. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Hillary Clinton. How you doing? I'm kind of tired. I just got in from Iowa. Do you like Hillary Clinton?
No.
Well, why don't you like me?
Because you're a liar, a cheater, you're a mean lady.
Have you seen the Benghazi movie?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I slept through it the first time. All right, quick question. Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders?
Hillary Clinton.
So why are you voting for me?
Oh, are you Hillary?
Well, of course. You see my pantsuit? Come on.
God, you look beautiful.
Hillary Clinton, yes or no? No. You gonna vote for Hillary Clinton for me for president?
No.
Why not? I'm as honest as they come.
Well, you know, why am I voting for you?
Yeah.
Girl power.
That's it? Some people say that I'm gonna be a great person for females. What do you think?
I don't know enough about Hillary to have an opinion, so I...
Really? You don't know anything about Hillary Clinton? Did you guys hear about what happened last night?
No. I didn't.
Well, I beat Bernie.
It's 50-50, no?
What do you mean, like this, with a coin toss? Did you see how I won last night, the Iowa caucus?
I think you probably cheated.
Well, how with this? You think you can beat me at a coin toss?
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Sir?
The most you ever lost on a coin toss.
Hey, what do you guys think, Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton?
It's a tie.
No, okay, well, guess what? This is how we fix that tiebreaker. This is what they did last night in the Iowa caucus. You ready? Call it in the air. Best out of 5. Oh, one for me. Call it in the air. Oh, there's 1. Oh, there's 2. Oh, tails. Oh, you got it. You're winning so far. All right, one more.
Okay. Heads.
See? I didn't win again. Well, we both tied again. Up. I guess I can't win at all. He won. Fair and square. Hillary Clinton loses in a coin toss with this guy. It's a little suspicious, huh? I would give this to you, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. What do you think? Hillary Clinton, me, or Bernie Sanders?
Alone.
Me or Bernie? Come on. Come on. Hey, you guys gonna vote for Hillary Clinton?
Sorry.
I wouldn't vote for me either. I'm a lying ass.
The Super Bowl. Many Americans will argue that this single event brings more people together than any other American pastime. And just like football fans who are preparing their Super Bowl parties, the military-industrial complex is making preparations of their own. This year's spectacle won't be the star-studded halftime show, but rather the outrageously overblown security theater that's being staged in and around the event. According to CBS San Francisco Bay Area News, Super Bowl 50 security is to include F-15 fighter jets and helicopters. Again, that's F-15 jets and helicopters at the Super Bowl. If this seems a little over the top, there's good reason for it. There's much more theatrics here than actual security. In fact, many, if not all, of the security techniques being used at the event have been proven to be ineffectual by up to 95%, and yet they've still elevated their routine to include F-15s. To illustrate the incompetence of the Department of Homeland Security, just look at the testimony given by the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Office of Screening in the DHS, Kellyanne Barishi.
Ms. Barisi, I've asked you the number of Americans who traveled to Syria, you don't know. The number of Americans who may have traveled and returned, you don't know. The number of Syrian refugees who've entered the country in the last year, you don't know. The number of visa waiver program overstays, you don't know. The number of visa waiver overstays who may have been to Syria before they came here, you don't know. And the number of American citizens on the no-fly list, and you don't know. And yet you are the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Screening Coordination, Office of Policy, Department of Homeland Security in front of the Oversight Committee, and you can't give us one single number to some, I think, pretty basic questions?
Quoting Daily Caller Editor-in-Chief Tucker Carlson from a Fox News appearance, he said,
"These people are not just wrong on the ideas, they're totally incompetent. These are the people who built the Obamacare website. They're not good at the details is part of it. And that's why this whole thing ought to scare us a lot."
And we shouldn't ignore the fact that Homeland Security has absolutely no problem keeping the borders wide open for anyone to cross. Now, these same people are bringing to the Super Bowl what the San Jose Mercury News describes as a veritable Fort Knox for the February 7th game. Metal detectors at every entrance, bomb-sniffing dogs at all train stops, sharpshooters perched on rooftops, and cameras everywhere. The DHS says they will be teaming up with the Air Force to provide air security against, amongst other possible threats, a slow-moving Cessna. Stories have been circulating demonstrating the special training that these pilots are receiving to aid them when intercepting Cessnas or small aircraft. And that's a lot of media coverage for what is normally considered to be routine NORAD defense drills. For decades, the United States airspace has been under the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD's Air Defense Program, who have the task to defend our domestic skies with aircraft, which includes F-15 fighters. Then why make a story out of F-15 training exercises? Well, the reason is as simple as it gets. To put a spotlight on the mighty U.S. military and the domestic Air Force, for all those watching the biggest game of the year to see. Infowars.com has time and time again exposed the fact that the DHS has very little interest in actually keeping anyone secure and a much larger agenda in acclimating the American population to live in a security state. What we'll be witnessing during the game will be nothing short of security theater broadcast during America's most popular sporting event. The DHS, as well as the U.S. military, has a history of paying big money to the NFL to propagandize the U.S. public. Countless articles report the relationship between the DoD and the NFL, including this November 2015 Pittsburgh Post-Gazette report. The DoD paid $53 million of taxpayers' money to pro sports for military tributes. So why does the DoD want to acclimate the public anyway? On Sunday, May 6, 2012, Infowars.com reported that a leaked U.S. Army document prepared for the Department of Defense contains shocking plans for political activists to be pacified by PSYOP officers into developing an appreciation of U.S. policies while detained in prison camps inside the United States. Last July, former General Wesley Clark went on MSNBC and called for disloyal Americans to be put in internment camps. Add this to the fact that Obama, who has chaired Security Council meetings, recently teamed up with the UN to create a global police force to deal with violent extremism We as Americans are being pushed and shoved into a global system that is outside of the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. And the security state theater is one way the American public is primed for the occasion. As people become more used to seeing the military in their everyday life, the easier it will be for the U.S. to become acclimated into a global system. A system where dissenters get into a military van and are never heard of again. So for those of you who are ready to put your brain into relaxation mode and sink into the big game, your relaxed mind will be unconsciously experiencing a paranoid America who lives under the reckless and unaccountable police state. The DoD wants these security images and emotions to become a normal part of life. As we see, they are willing to pay big money to broadcast this reality during the Super Bowl.
Shane Steiner's involvement with InfoWarsLife.com truly happened in an organic way. I went to high school with Shane, his brother, knew his parents well, and he was visiting the office once, hadn't been to the office in years, and said, wow, I notice you're making and selling supplements. Do these really work? Because I've tried a lot of supplements as a workout enthusiast, and I really think most of them are hype. And I said, here, take some home, try it. Well, a few weeks later, he came in blown away and said, I want to buy 3 boxes of this stuff to give my friends and family. It's simply amazing. He said, why does it work so well? And I said, listen, go to InfoWarsLife.com, watch the informational videos with Dr. Group and others. They understand how it all works. I know that it works for me. That's all I understand. The science, the facts, the research, people's testimonials, they're all on InfoWarsLife.com. You can check it out for yourself.
I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to push myself and work out harder. And that led to me being able to come out and do stuff like the barefooting and the surfing and stuff like that, which I've never done. I never would have done that 2 years ago.
Shane has said over and over again, more than just libido and energy, it made him want to get into the gym more. It made him want to get in better shape. And believe me, the Steiners have amazing genetics. His brother is a world champion steer wrestler. His dad, Bobby Steiner, is a famous world champion bull rider. They've got natural genetics. But when you added this to the mix, in Shane's own words, it took him to the next level. Shane noticed the mental clarity. Bobby was able to work out longer and gain muscle mass. He's already completely shredded. I gotta admit, for me, the biggest effect has been libido. Now, I've never claimed to have a body like some beach model, but back when I was 20, 22 years old and worked out every day, I looked great. But over the years, and being married, having 3 kids, and working 18 hours a day, I gained basically 100 pounds. And it's been a long process losing that weight in the last 4 years. But if you look at the photos and the videos of what I looked like 4 or 5 years ago versus today, the results are dramatic. I'd already cleaned up my diet. I was working out hard, but I'd only lost about 20 pounds. It was adding the other key ingredients from InfoWarsLife.com that helped me personally go to the next level and shed another 35 pounds.
This has actually made me feel so good that here lately, about a year ago, I started training jiu-jitsu, and that kind of led to doing some boxing and kickboxing. I mean, it's amazing that 2 years ago, I was on the couch and couldn't even tie my shoes, and now I'm training with MMA fighters and just doing stuff that I never thought that I would be doing ever again. So Super Male Vitality has allowed me to do some amazing things, and if it has those kind of effects for me, I know that it will do great things for you. So just try Super Male Vitality. I promise you, you'll love it.
And finally, let's look at Anthony Gucciardi, Infowars.com reporter. He also works with Dr. Group and others, helping develop the newest, most cutting-edge, high-quality supplements. Let's take a look at what happened when he tried to barefoot ski for the first time with the Steiners. And remember, we're not making fun of him. He had the will to get in the arena, and he's lost more than 10 pounds in the last few years of fat and gained more than 10 pounds of muscle. And Anthony chalks it up to Super Male Vitality as well. Bottom line, folks, you want to discover the power of super male vitality and super female vitality for yourself by visiting InfoWarsLife.com today or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.